Concerned about Hope's prognosis, Eric gets a furious warning from Steffy to Carter. The Bold and the Beautiful explains that Hope Logan and Carter Walton agreed that last night was amazing. Carter intended to speak with Ridge Forrester and convince him to restore Hope's line, despite his reluctance to separate himself from Hope. According to Carter, he had to try everything first, and he was vague about what would happen if this strategy didn't work. Carter promised to make things right and got one more kiss before they parted ways, because Hope appreciated his fighting for her. Evidently unhappy with Hope's dismissal, Eric Forrester questioned Steffy Forrester's certainty at Forrester Creations. Hope was family as far as Eric was concerned, so he was disturbed at this news, and thought Brooke Logan was, too. Despite Brooke's disapproval, Ridge stood by Steffy's decision. When Hope made another move on John Finnegan, Steffy was very clear that she had crossed limits. "It shouldn't have gotten to this point," Eric remarked as he slammed a folder. Steffy pretended as though Hope was responsible for her own demise, even though she secretly hoped Hope would find a new man and avoid her husband. Eric felt it was unethical to make corporate decisions based on personal issues, and said Hope's firing was personal. Hope was aware of the repercussions, but now she had to pay the price, according to Steffy. After Eric left, Steffy made a prediction about Brooke turning on the waterworks and pressing all Eric's emotional buttons. Carter eventually appeared in the CEO office with Ridge and Steffy, so he initiated ardent defense of Hope. It was wrong for Steffy to toss away Hope and her line because of a misunderstanding. At least that's how Carter felt about the situation. Steffy didn't know what was going on with Carter since he was aligning himself with Hope, but she advised that he needed to be very careful. Carter wondered if he could only share his views if he agreed with Steffy and Ridge. After Carter claimed Steffy couldn't take her personal rivalries into the boardroom, he suggested it demonstrated a lack of leadership and refused to accept it. At Brooke's apartment, Zend Forrester Dominguez reeled over what he'd missed while he was out of town. Steffy's choice to pull the plug on Hope's line now just didn't make sense to Zend. Brooke insisted it was personal and that Hope had been exiled from Forrester Creations altogether. Katie Logan was there to back Brooke up since she was also furious with the outcome for Hope. Once Zend heard information on the Finn misunderstanding, he could see why Steffy may have a bad reaction. However, Zend also believed Hope about it being an accident and was upset about losing his status as Hope for the future's chief designer. Zend felt that Steffy needed to set her own sentiments aside and pointed out that her choice might bring blowback. Hope showed up and agreed, but she hinted that maybe Hope wasn't lost after all. Once Hope revealed that Carter was gone attempting to get through to Ridge, she thought that he could stop what Steffy said in action. Back at Forrester Creations, Lainey and Tony flirted with Will Spencer in the design office. Although Lainey tried to coax Will into private time after work, Will was more interested in playing up Electra Forrester's abilities once she walked in. Despite Lainey's efforts to downplay Electra as a beginner, Will pretended like Electra was a seasoned pro who was helping Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer, with the jewelry line. Once Will was alone with Electra, he wanted to find out more about her. Will complimented Electra's attractiveness and briefly addressed the Hope dilemma before concluding it was best not to chatter. As Will pushed for the narrative of Electra Forrester, he asked questions and emphasized some of her attractive qualities. Will could see that Electra was the kind of lady that made an impact, so they shared some lovely moments together on Thursday's B&B show. The Bold and the Beautiful say Electra and Will's romantic future seems bright, but there's always turmoil around the corner on the CBS soap. Carter Walton pulls a Justin Barber on the Forrester family. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, fans will glimpse a dark and menacing side of Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor. After finding that the Forrester family fired his secret girlfriend Hope Logan, Annika Noel, he has a grudge to grind at Forrester Creations. But, What exactly does Carter have planned for Steffy Forrester and her family? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Hope Logan cries on Carter's shoulders. Hope Logan sobbed her way out of Forrester Creations after her stepdad Ridge Forrester had her escorted from the building. Her Prince Charming raced to pick her up and took her home to wipe away her tears and give her a shoulder to weep on. Before Hope stepped into Carter's car, he pledged to make sure the Forresters paid for what they did to her. B&B, Steffy Forrester stands her ground. Steffy Forrester made it obvious that she has no intention of unfiring Hope, and has already shut down her company email and is going to have a chat with the other staff about the changes being made in the boardroom. It's reasonable to say this scenario is going to get worse, and all hell is about to break loose. What precisely is Carter Walton planning? Initially, Bold and Beautiful fans were convinced Carter was going to launch his own company and become the Forresters' competition in the fashion world. But, what if he has something considerably more evil planned? Did anyone else get weird Justin Barber vibes from Carter? The Bold and the Beautiful Carter Walton follows in Justin's footsteps. A few years ago, Bill Spencer's right-hand man went rogue and nearly took his firm out from underneath him. After years of performing Dollar Bill's dirty work, Justin had enough and went on a crime spree seeking to dethrone Bill at Spencer Publications and set off a hostile takeover. Maybe Carter has no intention of quitting, and he plans to destroy Forrester Creations from the inside out. Zen's loss, Carter's threat, Eric's impossible position. The Bold and the Beautiful is finally here. In today's episode, Zen Forrester Dominguez reacts to no longer being lead designer. The Bold and the Beautiful recap highlights. Carter Walton confronts Steffy Forrester Finnegan. Also, Eric Forrester thinks Steffy made the wrong decision. B&B Hope Logan's afterglow. B&B disclosed that at Carter's loft, he comes downstairs without a shirt. Carter wraps his arms around Hope Logan's waist from behind. Hope thinks that last night was fantastic. Carter says the same about Hope. Eric is in the CEO office with Ridge Forrester and Steffy. Eric can't believe what he's hearing about Hope. Steffy feels Hope had to leave, and so did her line. Eric demands to know how Ridge backed this decision. This is Brooke Logan's daughter we are talking about. Ridge says that it makes things complicated. Eric reasons Brooke will be very upset when she learns about it. Ridge tells Eric that Brooke knows and she isn't happy. Zen chats to Katie Logan and Brooke about Hope. Zen is disappointed and puts his sketches down. Zen says he guesses Hope won't be needing those anymore. Zen sincerely believed that they were about to turn a corner. Zen believes it doesn't make sense to pull the plug now. Brooke explains it wasn't a business choice, it was a personal attack. Will Spencer is working when Lainey and Tony, the same ones Will and Liam Spencer had lunch with not too long ago. They discuss about how hot Will is when he suddenly notices them and takes his headphones out. Lainey hits on Will and wants him to come to her apartment after work. Elektra enters and fears she's interrupting, but Will joyfully invites her to come in. The Bold and the Beautiful Zen Forrester Dominguez's loss. Will introduces Elektra to Lainey and Tony. Lainey and Tony are a touch disrespectful. That's when Will brags about how Elektra is heading a new line at Forrester Creations. As Lainey nervously gulps, she tries to do damage control, but really sucks at it. Elektra is humble and says the line is headed by Ivy Forrester, Ashley Brewer. She's only there to help and learn. As Will glances at Elektra, he can't quit flashing his huge, pearly white grin. Back at Brooke's house, Zen can't believe Steffy did this. Brooke wonders how the industry will react. Brooke and Zen predict that buyers' confidence in Forrester Creations could turn fragile. Brooke explains to Zen that Steffy also exiled Hope from the building forever. Zend is perplexed, all over the Logan/Forrester rivalry? Brooke acknowledges it's more than that. Eric says Hope is family. Steffy objects and claims she is not a Forrester, Hope is a Logan. Steffy declares she will not accept Hope's contempt anymore. Eric hates that it's come to this. So does Steffy. The co-CEO adds that she wants Hope could find her own boyfriend and stop going after hers. At the loft, Hope is seated across Carter's lap. Carter needs to talk to Ridge and thinks he can get through to him. Hope looks troubled as she caresses Carter's head. B&B spoilers, Electra Forrester's competition. The Bold and the Beautiful recap says that Lainey and Tony watch as Will can't stop smiling at Electra. Lainey chooses to apologize to Electra, then claims there are so many coming and going, she can't keep track. Must read, The Bold and the Beautiful's instant love story flopping hard, Hope and Carter's rushed romance faces fan backlash. Will comments, luckily, Electra is a seasoned pro. Electra is once again humble, but does tell Lainey and Tony sarcastically that everyone has been so friendly and helpful. Electra stares right at Linnea and offers a strong nod. Lainey gets the point, and then the models are summoned via SMS to the showroom. Before the models go, Lainey tells Will, "Hey, don't forget about tonight after work." Electra's eyes darted over to Will. Zend adds if Hope says that's what happened, then he believes her. With HFTF gone, it means Zend's new position as lead designer is also gone. Eric says Brooke is going to be outraged. Steffy stops Eric screaming and says Hope is undermining her marriage. Eric adds that Steffy has every right to defend herself and her marriage. However, Eric feels this is erroneous. Eric informs Steffy that she made a business decision based on a personal grievance. Ridge sticks up for Steffy. Despite the line not doing well, Eric feels the termination was nonetheless personal. Steffy emphasizes that she warned Hope. Carter is set to talk to Ridge. Carter needs to exhaust every option before. Hope asks, before what? Carter makes Hope promise not to give up. Carter insists this isn't over. Carter leaves Hope alone in the loft. Must read, B&B spoilers, Hope and Carter's rival house changes everything for Zend, Ivy, and Electra. Will and Electra talk. Electra brings up Tony and Lainey. Will jokes that he doesn't know who those folks are. Will brings up Hope's termination, but stops himself. Will doesn't want to gossip and Electra seems clueless of what's transpired. Will wants to discover the story of Electra Forrester. Zend thinks this is insane. Brooke isn't sure how much Eric knows. Katie thinks Eric needs to know the truth. Zend adores Steffy, but she's wrong. Zend is enraged. Zend raves about Hope. Speaking about the devil, Hope just strolled in. Hope says she's alright, she's more concerned about how Steffy's decision is affecting everyone else. Hope asks precisely how Zend is doing. Hope gushes about Zend's talent, then suggests they still might have a shot. The Bold and the Beautiful recap, Thursday, November 7th, 2024. Ridge and Steffy are alone now. Ridge understands Eric's reaction and tries explaining it to Steffy. After Steffy insults Brooke, Ridge argues she is a mother. Steffy continues, and mothers fight for their children. I got it. I'm a mom too. Mothers are meant to teach their daughters about boundaries. As Steffy talks about Hope disrespecting her marriage, Carter's voice interrupts. Also read, The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Brooke's ultimatum, bedroom line, and Hope's fate intertwine? Electra doesn't want to talk about herself and is ambiguous. Will says that Electra has made an impression on him. Electra smiles. Hope tells the gang that she talked to Carter. Hope says Carter is talking to Ridge, and she's never seen him so determined. Carter is not condoning Hope's kiss with Finn. However, Carter says Steffy is wrong about what she witnessed. Steffy says, "Hope wants my husband." Ridge understands Carter is only trying to keep the peace. Carter clarifies he's trying to stop FC from making a terrible mistake. Steffy informs Carter that he has been aligning with Hope, and he needs to be very careful. Carter angrily tells Steffy that he has repeatedly warned her to knock it off with the Logan versus Forrester bullshit. Carter adds that Steffy can't carry her personal concerns into the boardroom. Steffy seems little discouraged and lets out a tiny sigh. Carter looks like he's getting to Steffy, but then he pushes too far. Steffy's face shifts from "I'm hearing you" to "How dare you." The shift occurred when Carter tells Steffy that her decisions lack judgment and lack leadership. Whoa. Then Carter says he won't allow Steffy to do this to Hope. Steffy refuses to relent. The Bold and the Beautiful, B&B, spoilers for Thursday, November 7th, 2024, promise Steffy revealing that she can never acknowledge when she is wrong. Next on The Bold and the Beautiful. When Eric Forrester, John McCook, discovers that Steffy Forrester Finnegan, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, fired Hope Logan, Annika Noel, and had her escorted from the building and cancelled her line, he tries to reason with his granddaughter. Steffy states that a lingerie-clad Hope was going after John Finn Finnegan, Tanner Novlin, again, and she had to stop her. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Eric Forrester goes to bat for Hope Logan. Eric tells out that Hope disputed things and maintained it was all a big misunderstanding, but Steffy still doesn't accept it and explains to Eric that she did what she had to do. Hope had been aggressive with her way too many times. Read more, The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Carter gives Steffy a much-needed break, steals CEO job from her and Ridge. She had gone after Thomas Forrester. She had come on to Finn. And her label was never ever a success until Thomas was her designer. Steffy can concede that portion of her decision was personal, but she also argues this was mostly business. She had given Hope for the future several chances to thrive, but it never did. Steffy wasn't going to pump money into a bleeding fashion line much longer, and Hope has to grasp that. B&B spoilers, Electra Forrester and Willow grow closer. Will Spencer, Crew Morrow, is delighted to be working at Forrester Creations, especially with all the beautiful models surrounding him. However, he has his eye on a young jewelry designer and not a model. Will can't get Electra Forrester, Linnea Grace, off his mind. The two young adults find themselves flirting with Electra, loving herself far too much. Will Bill Spencer's, Don Diamont, son acquire the bravery to ask Electra on a date? She is new to Los Angeles and would desire a guided tour from a resident. Electra likes what she sees in Will, meaning a new relationship is going to be created. Things didn't work out between Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, and R.J. Forrester, Joshua Hoffman, so we need a new young couple to follow. Electra and Will surely suit the bill, but will R.J. arrive on the scene and help establish a fresh young love triangle? Perhaps and Forrester, Delon DeMetz, will be interested in Electra. Tune into all new episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful weekdays on CBS to watch how these tales play out. Sheila finds Finn's ex-girlfriend, summons real competition for Steffy? The Bold and the Beautiful indicate that despite all the recent drama with Hope Logan, Steffy Forrester believes her husband is dedicated to her. John Finn Finnegan strives every day to prove exactly how loyal he is to Steffy and the family they share. It's evident that even when Hope was interested in Finn, she was never true competition for Steffy. Hope's attempt to be an invader was rather embarrassing, as Finn never had any kind of love sentiments for her. Now that Hope has moved on with Carter Walton, someone else may start sniffing about Finn. It's possible Ivy Forrester may be next in line, but she'd probably run into the same challenges as Hope. There's no reason for someone new to capture Finn's attention, as he's already had the woman of his dreams. That's especially true when it comes to Steffy's foes, as Finn is sensitive to her views regarding people she's feuded with. However, we have to consider what may happen if someone known to Finn entered the mix, perhaps the one who got away. This might be the greatest time for one of Finn's previous flames to unexpectedly surface. What if Finn never told Steffy about another lady who left him heartbroken? Maybe Finn is harboring a few secrets about his romantic past, like a failed engagement to a different leading woman. Sheila Sharp has backed off Finn for now, but that may not last much longer. Since Sheila was previously determined to get Finn away from Steffy, she might settle on a new scheme to make that happen. It's easy to see Sheila conducting some investigation and unearthing Finn's ex-girlfriend. Sheila might see the chance for Finn to fall back in love with someone who genuinely let her be part of his life. Maybe Finn's ex has been quietly pining for him and regretted letting him go. If that's the case, Sheila might take full advantage of the circumstance and cause some frightening news. Sheila might phone Finn's old lover and tell her that she should fight for him. Perhaps Sheila could influence some bad female love interest of the past into becoming Finn and Steffy's next wrecking ball. Whatever the case, the dialogue in the November 6th episode revealed some possible insights. Finn insisted Steffy was the only one for him before Steffy ultimately declared that he was all hers. Could B&B plan on changing things up with a new interloper? Could Steffy eventually wonder that maybe Finn isn't all hers as she thought? The Bold and the Beautiful believe Steffy and Finn will undoubtedly face fresh challenges, so stay tuned for marriage updates and more predictions on their next chapter. For months, Hope was growing feelings for Finn and eventually kissed him a couple of times. Steffy interpreted the situation as Hope chasing Finn, who didn't want her attention. Love General Hospital, B&B, Days, or other soaps? Join the debate on our SC boards. Click here to meet with fans and dive into discussions today. When Steffy stepped into the design studio and found Hope in lingerie and lying on top of Finn on the desk, she automatically concluded Hope was on the lookout for her husband. Steffy did not doubt that Finn was innocent of any crime. Since that time, Steffy's life at work has blown up. Her choice to terminate Hope has shook the firm and the family, but she felt she had to stand up for her marriage and her husband. There may be little to celebrate about her choice at work, but at home, Finn and Steffy are as linked as ever. On Wednesday, the couple firmly declares their love and dedication to one another. Carter and Hope kissing, image source, JPI. Meanwhile, Carter's, Lawrence St. Victor, unswerving dedication to Hope has not gone unnoticed. After years of feeling under Steffy's thumb, Hope now has someone at work as her defender. From trying to save Hope for the future to pushing Carter to follow his ambitions and pitch his expansion proposal to Eric and Ridge, Carter and Hope had been there for one another since their spontaneous kiss a couple of weeks ago. On Wednesday, Carter and Hope's innate chemistry ignites a fire between them, concluding in profound vows of love and unforgettable sensuality. Fallout for Brooke and Ridge. Brooke and Ridge conversing, image source, JPI. Brooke and Ridge conversing, image source, JPI. Brooke, Catherine Kelly Lang, was optimistic that, with enough time, Hope will be able to turn around HFTF. But Brooke didn't believe it was an easy job, with Steffy continuously threatening to cut the line. However, Brooke thought that Ridge could see past the figures and would always choose to safeguard her daughter's fashion brand. She surely never anticipated that Ridge would ever agree to terminate Hope, so she is upset and puzzled. However, the only way that Brooke can explain how the situation was misread is by revealing that Carter and Hope are together. It might not help the position for Hope, and it could make matters worse for Carter if it is discovered. Will Brooke tell Ridge the truth? Carter and Hope fell in love at lightning speed. What's really going on here? Given this is bold and beautiful, which has a knack for turning folks on a dime to develop the next big narrative, this may just be the path they suddenly chose to go with the characters, and go hard they have. However, delving deeper, there may be a greater motif at work that could give an emotional impact down the line. Relationships have always been difficult for Hope due to her mother's reputation. Stephanie dubbing Brooke as the slut from the valley kinda stuck, and she sure didn't help her own cause by betting and having a baby with her son-in-law at the time, Deacon, sleeping with 3 different Forrester men, or falling for her sister's husband when she had postpartum depression. Brooke obviously isn't the first female character to have had a succession of relationships or to have been in love triangles, but she seems to need a guy by her side, and that's led her to make some questionable choices. From the moment Hope first went on relationships of her own to the current time, Brooke's reputation has played a vital role in how she defined herself and in her decision-making. From grappling with her sexuality back in the day, to delving into it more lately, whether or not she was like her mother has been a continuous worry, not just in the back of her own mind, but often in the minds and mouths of others. Brooke Hope BMB. Hope not only constructed an identity around being virtuous and not like her mother, but an entire fashion brand as well. This went great for her, until it didn't. When she found herself drawn to a boy she shouldn't have been, and acted upon it, her carefully cultivated world began to split open. Throwing herself into a love affair with Thomas, knowing how good sex might be, and processing her emotions surrounding Liam's flip-flopping, were revolutionary, yet with all of this came difficulty. Hope Thomas BMB. Hope wanted a one-woman man, but didn't want to settle down into a marital life with Thomas. She then moved on to thinking about sex with another one-woman man, Finn, who was unavailable. With that comes humiliation. On top of the shame she'd already been made to feel over her mother, and splitting up her family, and romancing Thomas. Finn Hope BMB. Finn Hope BMB. Carter, then, was a surprise. The secret to everything. Attractive and sexy, yet faithful and focused entirely on her. Perfect. What's not to love? The problem? There's been a fast succession of men for Hope among mixed thoughts and feelings, without taking time to process. Yup, we think the deeper story here could be Hope's identification problem. Hence, the sensitivity around the loss of her fashion line, which she could be clutching to as the last vestige of that persona she adhered to so firmly for so many years. Also hinting at this being the narrative within the story is Ridge's remark to Brooke about her daughter's choices, and Brooke's recent worry about Hope's questionable behavior with Finn. Maybe we're stretching, but we'd love to see this turn out to be a deeper story about Hope's progress as a woman, rather than a manufactured, crazy plot about insta-love and infighting at Forrester Creations. Remember when Steffi had her huge epiphany and opted to stay alone instead of reuniting with Liam for the umpteenth time? We want a moment like that for Hope too. As it is, this tale doesn't seem to be working for the viewers at all. Shockwaves spread as news of Hope's termination is circulated. Carter grabbed Hope up outside of Forrester Creations and took her to Brooke's residence. As they walked in, Carter assured Hope that Steffi had just lost her anger, but it will be okay. Hope was upset and thanked Carter for coming as fast as he could. Brooke came home and inquired what was wrong. Hope told her parents that she had been fired. Brooke wondered if Steffi could fire Hope. Carter wasn't sure, as he didn't know what had happened yet. Hope told Carter and Brooke that Steffi felt she was hitting on Finn. Hope said that Steffi misinterpreted the situation. She inquired if Carter and Brooke believed her, and they responded they did. Hope wailed that Steffi wouldn't listen to her, while Carter hugged her. Hope related to Carter and Brooke what happened with Finn and how Steffi walked in at the most inappropriate time. She told them she was flustered when she learned it was Finn and not Carter who was in the office, stumbled, and fell on him. Hope determined that Steffy walked in, blew up, and she was fired. But you were wearing lingerie, Brooke pointed out. Hope understood how horrible it looked, but swore she wasn't crossing the boundary with Finn that Steffy had cautioned her about.